Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Mikey back here, and today we're going to be doing the playoff predictions for the 2022 NBA playoffs. The Hawks are moving on to the playoffs. They won last night against the Cavs in comeback fashion, and that was what an awesome game. Trae Young in the second half was crazy, and DeLon Wright, DeLon Wright, honestly, the MVP of that game. I mean, his defense on Darius Garland, pretty sure only allowed him to score 6 points while on him in the third quarter, and just his ability to switch and lock up the opposing perimeter players like Karis LeVert and Darius Garland just changed the pace of the game. And Trae Young got it on in the second half, and it was over. We had all the momentum from halfway on, and just what an awesome game. Trae Young had 32 points in the second half, in a half alone. And we really just ran away with it at the end as we were able to execute down the stretch. Playoff Trae executing down the fourth quarter is different. I know that I've had some criticisms of Trae executing the offense down the stretch in the regular season, but in the playoffs, he just has a switch that he flips, and it is crazy. He is perfect down the stretch, and even if he's not hitting those long threes that people question, I don't care if he misses them or makes them, he's going to take those. But it's just the taking advantage of mismatches, running pick and rolls when he doesn't have one. Like, he's executing the offense to a T. So shouts out to Trae Young. And then in the other playing game last night, the Pelicans. What a story, man. They started off the season 1-12 or 1-13, and they come back into the playoffs. Unfortunately, Paul George didn't play. Huge loss for the Clippers. I think I had the Clippers winning that series, winning the play-in, but without Paul George, Pelicans took advantage. Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum, great games. Brandon Ingram with a 30-piece, and CJ McCollum carried them in the first play-in. So both of those two guys are buckets. It's going to be dangerous for the Suns, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But I think the Suns can handle it pretty easily. But with that being said, I'll read off all the matchups. I'll start in the East. Miami versus Mylana Hawks versus the 1 and 8 seed. 4-5 matchup is Philadelphia 76ers and Toronto Raptors. That's going to be a great series. 3-6 is Milwaukee Bucks versus Chicago Bulls. I think the Bucks will get that one. Boston at the 2 seed versus 7 in Brooklyn. That series is going to be insane. So many great offensive players. There's so many guys who can just go get a bucket. So that series is going to be really entertaining. And then in the West side of things, you got Phoenix, number 1 seed, going against the Pelicans. You got Dallas with Luka Doncic in question, probably missing a few games in that series, going up against the 5-seeded Utah Jazz. You have the 3-seeded Golden State Warriors, who we don't know if Steph's going to play in the first game yet, but we'll see. Going up against the Nuggets with, in my opinion, the MVP of the season, Nikola Jokic at the 6th seed. And the 2 versus 7 matchup in the West with the Grizzlies and Timberwolves. That's going to be a really fun series. It's going to be really gritty, and both teams are going to play really, really hard. So I'll start my predictions in the West. Phoenix and New Orleans. New Orleans has had a great season. I give them a ton of credit, especially with the way they started. Willie Green has done an amazing job with that team. That CJ McCollum trade was excellent, and if they had a healthy Zion, I'd give them more chance in the series. But realistically, I think 2 great offensive players like Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum could get you a game, but I'm taking Phoenix in 5 games. I think the New Orleans Pelicans will get one, but overall, I think Phoenix is just their game plan will be too much. Monty Williams is an excellent coach, both two great coaches, but I think Monty Williams has had way more experience. And Chris Paul and Monty Williams going back to New Orleans, that's going to be a great story. But I think overall, the Suns, just general solidness of every single player knowing their exact role and running the offense and defense to a T. I think it'll be too much for the Pelicans, for a young team like the Pelicans. But the Pelicans have a great offense. Their defense is not as great, so I'll look for the Suns to get some, I think, open threes from the perimeter a lot to win this series in 5 games. For Dallas and Utah, 4-5 matchup in the West. Luka's a question mark, right? Obviously, great player, and Utah can take advantage of it. They can, but in my opinion, I think Dallas has been playing so well as of late, and I'm actually going to take Dallas in 7 games, regardless if Luka plays or not. Because here's the thing, right? Spencer Dinwiddie has been playing great. Jalen Brunson's been playing great. Dorian Finney-Smith's been playing great defense, hitting all his threes. And they just have a lot of guys who know their role on the Mavs. And without Luka, the defense will get better for the Mavericks. So I don't think I think Utah, all the stuff off the court, the stuff between Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, all the stuff that the media is making about, and just how their season trajectory has gone in general. I can see the Mavs pulling this out in 7, even if Luka plays only 3 or 4 games in the series. So I'm gonna go Mavs in 7 in that. And I think Spencer Dinwiddie will prove to everybody that when he was in Washington, he didn't want to be there. He was chasing the bag. He got traded, and now he's playing like he was in Brooklyn. And I think this is the Spencer Dinwiddie you're going to see for most of his career. So I think I have the Mavs in 7 in that one. For the Warriors and the Nuggets, it really all depends on Steph Curry. If he's really healthy, I can see the Warriors winning this, but I think the Nuggets will give them a really big fight because the Nuggets have one thing that the Warriors completely lack: an elite offensive center. Kevon Looney is a solid player, but he can't defend Nikola Jokic. If Draymond, I don't think they put Draymond Green on Jokic, and with everything like that, I mean, Jokic's size and just his ability to play make is just gonna tear the Warriors' defense apart. I believe. I know the Warriors have a good defense, but Jokic just thrown so many great passes and executes the game plan so well that Michael Malone creates, and I think the Nuggets will give them a run for their money. I'm gonna take the Warriors in 6 if Steph plays in the first game, but if Steph misses the first 2 games, I think the Nuggets can pull this out in 7 games just because of the greatness of Jokic and that mismatch in the center position. So I'm gonna go Warriors in 6 if Steph plays in the first game, but if he doesn't, I can see the Nuggets winning this in 7 games. Now Memphis and the Timberwolves, 2-7 matchup. Man, oh man, this is gonna be a great series, guys. John Morant, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns trying to prove himself in his first playoff series. D'Angelo Russell, what a great closer he is. Desmond Bane, the story he's had this career. Steven Adams having a rejuvenating year, and just the general guys the Grizzlies have, like Dylan Brooks, who can get in your face. Patrick Beverley versus Dylan Brooks. That's going to be 2 defenders that are just get gritty, menaces on the defensive end, going to get in your face, going to get in your head. So it's just going to be a fun series, some intense games I expect. But as far as my prediction, I'm going to say the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to get this in 7 games. And here's why. Karl Anthony Towns, I've seen a lot of slack on him. I've seen a lot of slander go toward his way. And the Clippers just try to take him out of the game completely, right? They try to take him out of the game completely. That was their game plan, and credit to the Clippers, it almost worked. But I don't think Cat's going to have that bad of a game. His defense is obviously a question mark, and with John Morant going into the paint, that could be bad. But Patrick Beverley is going to be on John Morant. John Morant has a great quick first step, but Patrick Beverley is an elite defender on the perimeter. He's obviously going to get in John Morant's head, and as young as the Grizzlies are, the Timberwolves are not as young. They've got some veteran guys like Patrick Beverley. Memphis has Steven Adams, but as far as perimeter, I think I'm going to give the edge to the Timberwolves with D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards. And I know John Morant excels in the full court. If the Timberwolves can slow this down and work all offense in the half court, I can see the Timberwolves winning this series. Jaren Jackson I think is going to perform well though. It's going to be tough, but I just think in the end the offensive trio of D'Angelo Russell, Karl Anthony Towns, and Anthony Edwards, who's going to prove himself on the national stage in this playoffs, I think they're going to be too much for the Grizzlies. And I credit the Grizzlies for a great season. And this is not me hating on John Morant or anything like that. I love the guy. But I just think that in the half court, the Timberwolves will execute better. And I think they can get stops when they need to. I think they'll pull this out in 7 games. Now on to the East. And we'll start with round 1 matchup. Mylana Hawks versus the Heat. Now, with Clint Capella being out, it might be tough. But you could look at that in 2 ways. And John Collins might be back. So that's one thing that's great for the Hawks. But about Clint Capella being out, you can look at it this way. Oh, we're going to get killed on the boards. Yes, you can say that. But the other way, Onyeka Okongwu was a great matchup for Bam Adebayo. That's 2 undersized centers who can both switch and both guard guys on the perimeter pretty well. Onyeka's going to need to not foul guys on 3-point shots, but those are great switchable guys. And Tyler Hero, you're about to get the DeLon Wright experience of him guarding you. I mean, DeLon Wright's locked up Darius Garland, locked up Karis LeVert. If he can lock up Darius Garland, an All-Star, he can lock up Tyler Hero off the bench. So I think that if Tyler Hero is slowed down or even shut down by DeLon Wright and the Hawks defense, the Miami doesn't have enough offense to keep up with us. DeAndre Hunter clamped Jimmy Butler for most of our matchups, and I firmly do believe the Hawks can pull this out in 6 games. Danilo Gallinari, assuming he'll start, if John Collins doesn't play, he's 6'10". I'm assuming he'll be on PJ Tucker, and if he's not on PJ Tucker, then even a smaller guy, Gallinari's just going to shoot over PJ Tucker and whoever else they put on him. So that's great for the Hawks. And also Bogdan Bogdanovic coming off the bench, playing starters minutes. I know the Heat have a great defense, especially in their starting unit, but in their backup unit, they don't really have many great defenders. So Bogdan Bogdanovic has taken advantage of that. He's playing really well at the moment and kept us in the game in the first half of the Cavs game. So I do believe the Hawks can take this in 6 games. I think our offense may be too much for the Heat, and we can get stops when we need to, especially because we have the great perimeter defenders to stop the 2 guys that they rely on score on the most, with DeLon Wright guarding Tyler Hero and DeAndre Hunter guarding Jimmy Butler. I think you hide Trey. I think you put him on Kyle Lowry. I know the ball handoffs might be a bit of a problem for Trey, but I'll live with Kyle Lowry trying to beat us at this point of his career. I love Kyle Lowry; he's a great player, but at this stage of his career, I'll live with him trying to beat the Hawks on the offensive end. Now for the Philadelphia and Toronto series, this is going to be a great series. Joel Embiid's size obviously is going to hurt the Raptors. If James Harden shows up, it's going to hurt the Raptors as well. But the Raptors have great perimeter defense. Scotty Barnes, I'm assuming, will be on James Harden. You're going to have Siakam on Embiid, I presume. So it's going to be a gritty series, I think. Very intense. Precious Achiuwa coming off the bench. If he performs well, I think that could be a game changer. No Matisse Thybulle either in Toronto. And that's a huge deal because he would be a primary assignment on Fred VanVleet. And we'll see Fred VanVleet is the All-Star this year in the playoffs. I think he'll perform well. And I can see Toronto winning this in 7 games. I can. It's really all going to... and that's a large part due to Matisse Thybulle. If he was playing in all the games, I probably would lean Philly in 6. But I can see Toronto winning this in 7 games, just because of their ability to switch and negate the perimeter offense for the 76ers. Joel Embiid is obviously a great player, and he's probably going to put up 30, probably almost every night in the series. But I don't think he's going to do it all, because the perimeter players are going to get locked up by Toronto's defenders. So I have Toronto in 7. Milwaukee and Chicago. Chicago's been banged up this year. Obviously, Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso got injured. Patrick Williams got injured. Zach LaVine missed some games. DeMar DeRozan played incredibly in the first half, but in the second half, the Bulls have really slowed down, and the Bucks have just surged ahead. The Bucks are playing great basketball right now. I can honestly see this being a sweep, but I'll give the Bulls 1 game. DeMar DeRozan can give you a game with how well he's played this year. So I'm gonna say Bucks in 5 for this one, but I don't think it'll be particularly close, especially with Vucevic not being a great rim protector and paint defender. Giannis is going to take advantage of that, and I think the Bucks will take this in 5 games. Sorry about that. But on to probably the most anticipated series of them all, in my opinion at least, Boston and Brooklyn. The best player in the world, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, versus Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Oh boy, what a series this is going to be. Kyrie returning to Boston, probably to hear all the boos from the crowd. He's going to get a lot of it. And I think Brooklyn's going to come out of this with a win in 7 games. Ben Simmons may come back in game 4, I think they're saying. I think that the Celtics, without Robert Williams especially, Bruce Brown can take advantage of that. And I know, Bruce Brown, you may think it's not a household name, but great defender. He's gonna really make things hard for Jaylen Brown. I think he's going to be on Jaylen Brown. And he's not going to lock him up, but he's definitely going to make things hard on him. And Bruce Brown is a great floater in the lane. That if Robert Williams is in there, and that's Al Horford, it's Al Horford's great, still a good player, but he's not Robert Williams in terms of paint defense at this stage of his career. So I think Bruce Brown can take advantage of that. I think if they win, I think if they win one in Brooklyn, if Brooklyn wins one in Boston, sorry, they can come back and they can close the series out in 6 or 7 games. So, but with that, I'm gonna go Brooklyn in 6. I think this year they're looking for revenge. They're coming off a season where they've had a lot of turmoil, injuries, the Kyrie Irving situation, and everything like that. And I believe that Brooklyn's going to come out and prove a point. So I'm going to go Brooklyn in 6 for this one. So I'll repeat my predictions. For Miami, Atlanta, at the Hawks in 6. Philadelphia, Toronto in 7. For Milwaukee and Chicago in 5. Boston and Brooklyn in 7. For Phoenix and New Orleans, Phoenix in 5. For Dallas and Utah, Dallas in 7. For the Warriors and the Nuggets, the Warriors in 6 if Steph plays. If he doesn't play in the first 2 games, the Nuggets in 7. And for Memphis and Minnesota, I have Minnesota in 7. So that's my predictions. Let me know your guys in the comments below, and I'll be back for recap games for the Hawks and a recap for and a prediction for the second round once it's done as well. So keep an eye out looking for those. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.